The Tarkov player base varies quite a bit in both personality and playstyle, which is why I have chosen to arbitrarily put each unique person onto a chart, because the Tarkov community is mildly obsessed with data in graphical format. The chart itself is fairly self-explanatory, however, I will also be including a complainometer that roughly measures how much each type of person complains. At the center of the chart is the average player. This encompasses a whole lot of people, so there isn't too much to say. They'll hover around a 30 to 40% survival rate. Their skills pretty average, neither good nor bad. This is the baseline. As far as the complainometer goes, they sit perfectly in the middle at a 5. The middle of the upper left box is occupied by the creepers. These are people who want to push fights aggressively, but lack either the knowledge or skill to do so confidently. Because of this, they will run towards a fight, and then as soon as they get close, they turn into Gollum with an assault rifle and just slink around. Because of this slow creeping playstyle, a majority of their kills will be on players who are head down ass up looting, stuck in a healing animation, or repacking a magazine. As far as complaining goes, they sit at around a 3, unless they are accused of being a rat, in which case they jump straight up to an 8. Prepare for a 40-page peer-reviewed thesis on why you are wrong, Tarkov isn't Call of Duty, and this is the correct way to play a tactical shooter. Just don't call them a rat and they'll be chill. Timmies are the epitome of a casual and have no clue what the hell is going on. They saw clips of Tarkov on either TikTok or YouTube and were enraptured by the idea of a tactical first-person shooter. That, or they saw the animations and just thought it looked cool. Then they started playing the game and realized that it is pain and misery in binary form. They aren't experienced, so they most often complain about difficulty, cheaters, or simply echo the complaint of the day from Reddit or their favorite streamer. Casual players who want to play aggressively but don't have the time to grind are the blue-collar lads. These guys love the idea of a game like Escape from Tarkov, however, they just finished an 84-hour work week on a pipeline and don't really want to get violated by a mega sweat whose diet consists entirely of caffeine. They have maybe an hour a day to put into this game. They don't need it to be ruined by a cheater or a rat sitting in a corner. They just want to use the cool gun they made and wear the cool armor they found, and because of this, they find refuge in either PvE or SP Tarkov. As for complaining, they sit at around a 2. Their only complaint is optimization. Finishing off the top left box are the burgeoning Chads. These guys want to adopt a more aggressive PvP-focused playstyle. The problem is they aren't very good at it. They have a tendency to sprint into a fight, get 1 kill, and then just die. They can most commonly be found on the factory trying to fight the entire lobby, which means you will most often find them as a corpse in the office area. Their desire to improve is admirable. However, it comes with the side effect of they develop a massive ego. If they die, it was never their fault. The other guy is either cheating, or it was desync, or if all else fails, the other guy was a filthy rat. In their eyes, if you stand still for more than 1/8 of a second, you are a rat. They sit at an 8 on the bitchometer. Now, that last guy seemed to complain a lot, but he only got an 8, so what constitutes a 10? Well, those are the people who don't play Escape from Tarkov anymore, but still find a way to complain about it every single day. They stopped playing the game a year ago, but still stalk Twitter and YouTube comment sections and leave unsolicited opinions about, oh, game bad, and can't believe people are still playing this trash. It may sound like I'm exaggerating, but literally just give it a minute, you'll probably find a few in the comments section of this video. I can understand not liking the current state of Escape from Tarkov or being frustrated by the actions taken by BSG. However, eventually, you just gotta move on. There are a host of other games out there that you can play and enjoy. For example, Stalcraft. You ain't getting away from this ad read. Stalcraft is an MMORPG FPS taking place in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Boy, doesn't this sound familiar. It's Stalker. It's Stalker, but multiplayer and blockier. Gather your friends and delve into the zone in search of riches and fame. Whether you choose to search for artifacts or simply compel others to hand over their artifacts is entirely up to you. You can explore, trade, and contribute to science, or simply run everyone's pockets and start turf wars over who gets what chunk of irradiated land. The MMORPG side of the game is heavily emphasized here, as you get to choose one of 4 factions to swear your allegiance to. The FPS side of the game is emphasized when it comes to actually proving said allegiance. If deciding the fate of the zone isn't quite your cup of tea, then a large main story with a plethora of side quests may be what you're looking for. A wide open world, a large main story, a plethora of quests, the ability to do whatever you want, and it's all enjoyable alongside friends. Download Stalcraft for free using my link below, and thank you to Stalcraft for sponsoring this video. The middle of the lower left box is occupied by the permascavers, who all suffer from crippling chromatophobia. These guys have profound gear fear. The idea of losing anything at all petrifies them. They will run PMC raids for exactly 2 reasons. One is to reach level 15 and unlock the flea market. The other is to gain fence rep from car extracts. That's it. They will never run PMCs again. They will complete a scav, sell all their stuff, and then just wait at the menu screen until their scav timer runs out so they can run another one. Their sole interest is watching the ruble count in their stash go up. One strange thing of note is that they can be fairly aggressive when they're playing as scavs, and they will even seek out PMCs. However, even if they kill and loot a PMC, they're just gonna sell the equipment. They're never going to use it. As for the complainometer, they have 0 skin in this game. They are gambling with the house's money. They sit at a 1. Occupying the corner, as per usual, are the ELFL campers. The source of many a shed tear, the ELFL camper is about as passive and casual as you can get, besides just watching someone else play the game. It's one of the few playstyles where you can be brain dead and playing a different game entirely while still being wildly successful. Their other hobbies include watching paint dry, fishing without a hook, and mowing their lawn with nail clippers. On the bitchometer, they are either the whiniest babies who complain about literally anything, or they are so unbothered they might as well be a comatose patient. Only slightly more respectable than the ELFL campers are the rats. They are a bit more experienced, solely because their map knowledge extends beyond knowing where the extracts are. However, they only ever use this map knowledge to find a nice bush to hide in. As for their complaining, they are a cause of complaints, but not so much a source. They sit at a 2. Turtles are an interesting group of people because they're willing to get in fights and they'll even move towards fights. However, they have seemingly unbound their shift key. They do not sprint. Could be that they're just moving cautiously through the map, or they're afraid of making noise. Whatever the case, they will not run unless they are actively being shot at in the open. Even during a fight, they will not sprint. They'll push you, but it's going to be a walking push. I don't know. It's strange. I am mostly perplexed by these people, but they don't complain that much. They're around a 4. The middle of the upper right box is occupied by people who are generally skilled at Escape from Tarkov. They'll have a 50 to 65% survival rate, decent KD, they're able to progress through quests fairly quickly, they can be effective with basically any loadout. They're good Tarkov players. When it comes to the bitchometer, they fit into one of 2 categories. The first category is occupied by people who are jaded with the state of Escape from Tarkov and think it's dying, but they are hopelessly addicted to it like drug addicts. They sit at an 8. The other category is filled with people that understand that BSG breaks things all the time, but it generally gets fixed after a while. If they are not enjoying the game, if they don't enjoy the wipe, they'll just leave and do something else for 3 months and then come back and see if the situation is improved. They sit at about a 3. Other than constructive criticism, they have better shit to do than complain. Crackheads are incredibly aggressive players who have a survival rate around 25 to 30%. Now, at first, you might look at that survival rate and think, okay, these guys aren't that great. And then your eyes drift over to their KD and you realize it's 27. Their demise is not caused by a lack of skill, but rather it's caused by a complete lack of a sense of self-preservation. They are here for the PvP. They do not care if they live through it. They will jump out of 3rd-story dorms just to catch you on the stairs. They will fight a 5-man even if all they have is a Taz. They're good at the game, they just could not care less about rubles or stats in general. On the complainometer, they're at a 3. The only thing they will ever complain about are cheaters. The Kappa grinders are pretty self-explanatory. They clock in for their shift on wipe day, grind for about 2 to 3 weeks, get Kappa, and then piss off back to Narnia. Bonus points if they get the Killa tracksuit. They do not interact with the community, they do not complain. They get the Kappa, post it on Reddit or something, and then disappear. Do they enjoy the game? I don't know. Do they care about its future? I couldn't tell you. I'm not even certain there's a person behind the screen. They just do their own thing. Meta slaves cannot comprehend using anything that is an absolute meta. I don't even think they can physically perceive an off-meta weapon. They need to win, and they need every advantage possible. Otherwise, what is the point? As for the bitchometer, you have your standard complaints of cheaters, desync, the usual stuff. But if their favorite weapon gets nerfed, the floodgates open and the rage comes pouring out. What do you mean you slightly increased the recoil on my gun that's been meta for the past 5 years in a row? Yeah. These guys used to be really into Tarkov PvP until Arena came out, and they haven't touched the main game since. They're pretty chill unless you ask them why they only play Arena. If you make that mistake, they will launch into a Shakespearean soliloquy about how Tarkov was better before inertia and nobody moves around and, you know, old man shouts at cloud. The middle of the lower right category is occupied by ruble grinders. Much like the permascavers, these guys exist solely to watch the stash value number go up. However, they understand that in order to make money, you need to spend money. Their map knowledge is beyond comparison. They know every stash location, every good locked door, every nook and cranny where something slightly valuable can spawn. That being said, they aren't rats and they aren't hatchlings. They will murder you for 62 cents. If you take their loot, it is an insult that they cannot tolerate. On the bitchometer, they sit at around a 3 or 4 unless their favorite map has its loot nerfed. Should that happen, they jump immediately to DEFCON 1 and are actively planning on how to wipe BSG headquarters off the face of the earth. Collateral damage is not a concern. The removal of the flea market system has seen the return of the flea market wolves. These guys are experienced, but they don't really like first-person shooters. Their favorite games are the stock market and the financial system. Not only do they flip stuff from traders, but they will buy the entire flea market on an in-demand item just to upcharge it an insane amount. If you are looking at bolts or ammo on the flea market and then suddenly every listing just disappears, one of these guys is responsible. There is definitely an audit from the IRS and Stock Exchange Commission in their future. As for complaining goes, they don't have much to complain about, but they do have a micro stroke every time they see a CAPTCHA. Advanced rats behave very similarly to normal rats in that they both just sit in a random corner and kill people that walk by. However, advanced rats are much more creative with their hiding spots. They have so much map knowledge that their campsites border on insanity. You'll be walking along, minding your own business, when all of a sudden frickin' Batman here leaps out of the shadows and guns you down before you know what's going on. If you die to these guys, there is a 90% chance you have no clue what the hell just happened. I am certain they spend hours in offline raids just figuring out new hiding spots. As for complaints, they can get a little angry if their favorite cheeky corner gets patched out. However, they have like 15 backups, so it really doesn't bug them that much. They're at a 2. These are most often people who used to play Tarkov aggressively, but have since graduated into milsim dads and don't feel like moving around as much. As a result, they have a lot of map knowledge and experience, but they only ever use it for sniping. They can be found on woods, shoreline, lighthouse, any map with wide open sight lines, and they will kill you from 500 yards away. If you're walking along and your stomach suddenly disappears, run and hide, because if you stay out in the open for any longer, or if you peek them, they're gonna lop your head off. As for complaining, they're very laid back, unless it is a foggy day in Tarkov. That pisses them off. The last player type I will talk about are the route followers. These guys sit perfectly in the middle of passive and aggressive because no matter what, they will not deviate from their path. Let's say they want to go to dorms. There could be gunfire right next to them at the fuel tanks, but they don't care. It doesn't concern them. They want to go to dorms. On the other hand, there could be a battle rivaling Omaha Beach going on in the dorms. They will still push it because that is the path they have chosen and they will not deviate from it. As for complaints, they sit at a 4 or a 5, usual stuff of cheaters, desync, you know. And that will about do it for this video. Big thanks again to Stalcraft for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out my link in the description. No stream today since I just finished finals and I'm packing up and getting ready to go home, so nothing's happening today. However, you can expect more streams more often in the future. Otherwise, yeah, finals are done, so That's over with. I can relax a bit more and hopefully put more effort into the YouTube channel. Other than that, I don't have much to announce. Thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end, and I hope you enjoyed.